Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is like week 1 of the Flash being on break, Flash and Arrow. So I thought for my bonus video, I'd do something based on the Rogues. This is mostly going to focus on the new characters that they've announced on the show, but that we just haven't met yet. They just cast Peyton List as Lisa Snart, aka Golden Glider. She's Captain Cold's sister. I'm sure Robbie Mell was pumped to hear that. Now they can add Tomorrow People to the list of shows that they're snagging people from. Prison Break, Spartacus, and now Tomorrow People. She's not going to appear till episode 16, but episode 17, the one right after that, is going to be Mark Hamill's episode. He's going to be reprising his Trickster character from the original Flash series with a little twist. There are a couple other big rogues they could still bring on the show, because there's still a couple episodes left they have to cast, but this video is mostly going to be about Heatwave and the other actors they've already announced. So who are the Rogues? If you haven't read the comics, they're like a B-level group of criminals that band together to commit crimes in and around Keystone and Central City. The number of rogues at any given time changes from comic to comic, but there are always a couple core members that stay the same. Pretty much the ones that we're going to meet on the TV show. Those are the core rogues. The oldest ones from the classic comics are Captain Cold, Heatwave, Weather Wizard, Trickster, Mirror Master, Pied Piper, Golden Glider, Abracadabra, and the Top. Some of those people we have not met yet. Later in the comics, like the late 1990s, early 2000s, they introduced Double Down, Tar Pit, Plunder, Girder, who we have seen on the show, and Murmur. The New 52 version of the Rogues in the comics, the most current version, is really close to the classic roster. There have also been alternate groups like the Renegades, which are a future version of their group from the 25th century, with a twist that they're a police task force. Like instead of being a group of criminals, they're a group of super cops. Interesting side note, the Reverse Flash, the Eobard Thawne Reverse Flash, is from the 25th century. There was also a side splinter group called the New Rogues during Final Crisis, but that was created by Inertia just to piss off the original Rogues and to blackmail them into helping him. Since the TV show is still in season 1, they're mostly sticking with the classic versions of the characters. Anytime you're looking for rogue Easter eggs though in the episodes, mostly be looking for stuff from the classic comics and from Geoff Johns' run. That's like everything before and including Flashpoint. So far, they've introduced Weather Wizard in episode 1, Captain Cold and Heatwave in episode 4. The post-credits scene from that episode is where Captain Cold actually forms the Rogues officially when he says, "I'm forming a new team, would you like to join it?" That episode is probably one of my favorites from the first half of the season. Girder debuted in episode 6. As far as we know though, he died in episode 7, helping them fight Blackout. Captain Boomerang, who was a big rogue, is only mentioned in the Flash vs. Arrow crossover episode. They went a little bit more Suicide Squad with that character, because he's been both a member of Suicide Squad and the Rogues. And then of course we met the Reverse Flash in episode 9. Technically he's not a rogue, but a lot of his stories in the comics get tied up with the Rogues. He either uses them, or they cross paths because they're both trying to take out one of the Flashes, like Barry Allen, Wally West, Bart Allen. So do not be surprised if by the end of season 1, or in the finale, the Rogues and the Reverse Flash appear on screen together. And as far as we know, Captain Cold's gun is the most effective weapon against him. Although based on their fight in episode 9, Firestorm's powers work really well against him too. So I should say that if you haven't read the comics, on very rare occasions, Captain Cold has worked with the Flash when it suited him. He might be a criminal, but he does live by code. I already did a bonus video about Captain Cold, so I will add a link in the description if you guys want to watch this after that. But what I'm really excited about is his sister coming on the show. She had not been confirmed when they first announced the series. That's who Peyton List is going to be playing, and she'll probably be playing Lisa Snart. They're probably not going to do special powers. She is like the most important part of Captain Cold's life. He turned to a life of crime to support her. Like they came from an abusive household, so when they both took off, he took it on himself to support her, to keep her safe. That's why he became a bank robber. After he got the cold guns, things got a little crazy, but you get the idea. I should say that, as a character, he's not out to get the Flash. All he cares about is his sister. Pulling heists and mercenary work are the only viable options he sees available to him, so meeting Peyton List on the show is going to be a lot of fun. In the comics, she became a rogue in her own right, but she's not so much a criminal like the other members are. Since the show's going with the classic versions of the characters, if she does end up committing any crimes or doing anything sneaky, she's probably going to look a little bit more like a cat burglar, a la Catwoman. The dynamic between her and Wentworth Miller is going to be so much fun. She's kind of like the voice of reason. Her character is really like a calming presence in the Rogues. Heatwave, though, who's being played by fellow Prison Break alum Dominic Purcell, is like the flip side of that. He's not related to Captain Cold, but they have been friends for most of their adult lives. As the name implies, Heatwave is like a powder keg of ego just waiting to explode. He's got an itchy trigger finger, and he is not very bright, so he causes a lot of collateral damage on all their heists. He and Captain Cold butt heads a lot in the comics. Song of Ice and Fire, it's right out of Game of Thrones. The show kind of teased that in episode 4, in that post-credit scene when Wentworth Miller's like, I know that last job didn't go so well. As far as we know, they're going to be the only 2 rogues in episode 10. The title of that is actually really fun. It's called Revenge of the Rogues. It's just a twist on the comic book storyline, Rogue's Revenge. I think it's a reference in name only, just because Rogue's Revenge was from Final Crisis. It involved Bart Allen, Inertia, and a whole bunch of other characters that we haven't seen yet on the show. It's probably going to be a story about their first official mission as the Rogues, or first official heist. Caitlin Snow, of course, being the blackmail. They're either after Star Labs tech or they want the Flash to steal something for them. It's going to be a lot of fun. Expect Dominic Purcell to go completely crazy. So the next new rogue we're actually going to meet is Pied Piper. He is the boyfriend of Captain Singh. I think I mentioned him in my last video. He's actually going to be in 2 episodes, 11 and 12, so he'll be right after that Rogue's Revenge story. He's a big rogue in the comic books, but the show is changing his backstory just a little bit to make him a little more sympathetic. And I don't think that Captain Singh knows anything about him turning into a criminal. Episode 11 is probably going to be a teaser for his character just to introduce him, and then episode 12 will be like his full-blown revenge story. They did tease the synopsis. Essentially, he's going to be like a former Star Labs employee, just like Blackout. On the show, he's supposed to be a former Star Labs employee who's, super genius, just like everyone else that works there, who went deaf during the particle accelerator explosion. I'll be interested to see how they explain the hypnotism and the Pied Piper aspect of his character. One really trippy thing that I hope that they include an Easter egg for his character is the anti-life equation. It's this really trippy thing that Jack Kirby invented. Grant Morrison used it a little bit more recently during Final Crisis. It got tied up in this big dark side plot. It's way too hard to parse for them to do a storyline based on it, but they might just have an Easter egg with a really complicated equation on a blackboard or something like that. In slightly more practical matters, Mark Hamill is actually going to be a really exciting episode. He's playing the Trickster. He's reprising his role from the original TV series. So in the comics, a lot of the rogues and other B-level villains have more modern versions of the characters. Usually the way they explain it is there's an old version of the character that passes the mantle on to either a son or someone else that they know. On the show, that's what's going to be happening with the Trickster. So Mark Hamill will be like the old Trickster. He'll be in Iron Heights prison with John Wesley Shipp, which is actually really awesome. Supposedly there's going to be a new imposter calling himself the Trickster, and Mark Hamill's character is going to help them take him down. I'm crossing my fingers and really hoping that Mark Hamill gets a scene with John Wesley Shipp. They're both in Iron Heights, so it stands to reason that they'll have some shared scene in the common room. We haven't seen John Wesley Shipp get a lot of scenes with other characters outside of Grant Gustin. That's pretty much it for the rogues that they've announced so far. So they have 22 episodes in this season. Mark Hamill is episode 17, so they have about 3 episodes after that where they could do Mirror Master or one of the other rogues. I just don't think that they're going to introduce any new characters in the finale, and I do think that episodes 21 and 22 will be like a 2-part finale, even if it's not officially a 2-part episode. It's like usually the last episode before the finale sets up what's going to happen in the finale. Just in terms of other new villains that they could bring on, just remember that they've used people from the Firestorm comics, they've used Suicide Squad people, they kind of pull from all over. Generally though, the last couple of episodes are mostly going to focus on the Reverse Flash, or Reverse Flashes, I should say. I think it was early March before we learned the titles for the last couple of episodes for Arrow Season 2, so I would expect the same thing for The Flash. So if they're doing any specific comic book storylines, we're not going to find out for a little while. Just in general, I think this season is closer to Rebirth than to Flashpoint, but I do think we'll see elements from both of those comics because there is a time travel component involved and multiple Reverse Flashes. I totally love all the Reverse Flash theories that you guys have pointed out, but here's a couple really important things to remember when you're theory crafting. So one really notable visible difference between the Hunter Zolomon Zoom and Professor Zoom is their eye coverings. So Professor Zoom doesn't have anything covering his eye holes. Zoom, or Hunter Zolomon, however you want to think about him, has lenses. And if you remember, the one stuck in this stasis field had lenses, red lenses, covering his eyes. The suit that Harrison Wells was looking at the end of the episode did not have eye coverings. Another important distinction is that Zoom, Hunter Zolomon, was just trying to hurt Barry Allen. Professor Zoom had a much grander plan. He wanted the ability to shape reality. There was a storyline in the comics where both Reverse Flashes worked together, but because Professor Zoom thought that Zoom was a douche, he dicked him over. Then he revealed his real plan to try and get a hold of the Omega energy that Darkseid had infused Batman with whenever he sent him back in time. It's a really complicated storyline, but the takeaway is that Professor Zoom has a much grander vision. So just more things to think about whenever you're theory crafting. There's still a lot of stuff about the Professor Zoom character that we can talk about and the way he uses the Speed Force, like the abilities that it gives him. But just in general, I do believe Harrison Wells is Professor Zoom, and Eddie Thawne, or a future version of him, is Zoom, is the Hunter Zolomon Zoom. So I am working on an Arrow bonus video. Stephen Amell has been saying all kinds of stuff about the back half of the season. There's the Canary trilogy, all kinds of awesome stuff to talk about. So be sure to subscribe to get that. I'm also working on a Hobbit video, so I might post my Hobbit video first and then post the Arrow video. Right now, if you're watching on a mobile phone or on a tablet, there's new mobile links that you can click on up here. Yay, mobile links. It's the same as the links over here. But click here for that Captain Cole video and click here for my mid-season finale video. Thank you so much for watching. So let's all high five. I will see you guys tonight.